I got the Nike Alphafly 3 shoes last week. I've been able to test them out against almost every single version of the Vaporfly and Alphafly running shoes over the past few days. Most people assume that the Alphafly 3 is a next percent shoe. This video will explain why that isn't actually true. The Nike official press documentation has listed every single Vaporfly and Alphafly shoe with either a 4% or a next percent label up until now. This percentage was said to represent the energy return gain for the latest shoes over their predecessors. I know almost every single review will list the Alphafly 3 shoes as a next percent shoe. However, in all of the official Nike documentation, they've removed the next percent label for this particular shoe. In the past, Nike has claimed that the most recent versions of their shoe have even more energy return than the previous version. With the Alphafly 3 shoes, they no longer make that claim. Now I know this could just simply be a marketing decision and have no bearing on the performance of the shoe. However, I have the new Stride Duo foot pods that can accurately measure leg spring stiffness for both feet in real time. My testing has shown that the leg spring stiffness increases with two factors. The faster the step rate and the more energy return the shoe provides, the higher the leg spring stiffness value will be. However, the Alphafly 3 shoes had the highest step rate I have ever achieved with this test, and yet the leg spring stiffness value was one of the lowest values I have ever had. All of the metrics that I look at for this test were perfect except for the leg spring stiffness for the Alphafly 3 shoes. That one value was indicating that the Alphafly 3 shoes were inferior to all other Nike Vaporfly and Alphafly shoes that had been produced before it. Now this doesn't mean that the Alphafly shoes are a bad running shoe. I was able to hit values for step rate, stride length, form power, and vertical oscillation that would indicate I was running extremely efficiently with the Alphafly 3 shoes. I would not have any hesitations in racing in these shoes at all. However, I do want to make it clear that these shoes do not necessarily have better energy return than the Alphafly and even Vaporfly shoes that came before them. As you can see from this data, the leg spring stiffness values are always higher for all of the previous versions of the Nike shoes in this controlled 2-mile treadmill test that I do. I will do another video explaining how the test is conducted and how I isolate the shoes as the only variable in the test. Even the Nike Tempo Next Percent shoes had a higher leg spring stiffness value than the Alphafly 3 shoes, despite the step rate for the Tempo shoes being lower. However, this doesn't mean that I think the Tempo Next Percent shoes are a better racing shoe. The Tempo Next Percent shoes weigh over 20% more than the Alphafly 3 shoes. The effects of swinging that much extra weight, especially for my 6'4" height, mean that the Tempo Next Percent shoe is definitely a less efficient overall shoe than the Alphafly 3 shoes. However, the energy return and cushioning of the Tempo Next Percent shoe mean that it is an excellent training shoe that builds my strength and endurance while also helping with fatigue and injury. Honestly, I think the combination of using the Tempo Next Percent shoe for training and the Alphafly 3 shoe for racing is the best option for me overall of all of the shoes I have available in my collection. So you might be wondering if it is worth buying the Alphafly 3 shoes at $285 since they are not necessarily better in every aspect than the shoes that came before them. My opinion is that the Alphafly 3 shoes are in fact an excellent racing shoe. These shoes are extremely fast and offer excellent comfort. If you are racing in the Alphafly 2 shoes currently, then I would definitely say replace them with the Alphafly 3 shoes. The Alphafly 2 shoes offer, and I quote, Nike's highest energy return cushioning system, adding more bounce into every step. Yet they have a very unusual fit that means the arch digs into the bottom of your foot, and the sides often cause people blisters. Plus, they are just so unnecessarily heavy that I just can't run in them for more than 2 or 3 miles without my feet hurting. I cannot recommend the Alphafly 2 shoes at all. I really think those shoes were a mistake by Nike. I really hate running in. If you are currently racing in the Alphafly 1 shoes, then I would be more hesitant to spend the money on the Alphafly 3 shoe. I can achieve almost exactly the same metrics in the Alphafly 1 shoes as I can in the Alphafly 3 shoes, with the exception of leg spring stiffness for my controlled testing. However, the Alphafly 3 shoes feel more comfortable and stable than the Alphafly 1 shoes for me, but each person is different, so I can't speak for everyone else. If you are racing in the Vaporfly shoes, then I do think the Nike AirPods and the Alphafly shoes offer a more comfortable feeling, especially if you're a bigger person like me. I weigh over 195 pounds and run in the low 7 minute per mile range, so having shoes that absorb the impacts is extremely important to me. It may be less important to smaller and lighter runners. The best way that I can describe the Alphafly 3 shoes is that it feels like they put the Nike Vaporfly 4% shoe on stilts. I really like the tall stack height and 8mm drop of the Alphafly 3 shoes. I have always thought that the Nike Vaporfly 4% shoes were one of the best racing shoes I've run in. However, they weren't very stable, and it felt like the foam broke down and would collapse after too many miles of running. I feel like the Alphafly 3 shoes offer the best aspects of the Nike Vaporfly 4% shoes with much better stability comfortability, cushioning, and durability. That truly does make an excellent running shoe. If you have a great racing shoe already, then you might want to consider upgrading your training shoe as opposed to buying the latest and greatest racing shoe. I really think that the Nike Tempo Next Percent are an incredible training shoe. I can't believe that Nike has stopped selling. Hopefully they will come out with the Tempo Next Percent 2 shoe soon. I honestly think that money is sometimes better spent on your daily training shoe that can help you prevent injuries over buying a nearly $300 racing shoe that isn't necessarily better in all aspects than the shoes you already have. All of that being said, I'm not disappointed with the Alphafly 3 shoes at all. I definitely can run fast for long distances with these shoes, and they really feel great on my feet. I hope this video helps you understand if these shoes will be the right choice for you.